Welcome to another week with the Ciao Bella ladies. And this week we're up to number 5 in our t-shirts. And this one says, it's COVID and I am home. What do you expect me to do? And the resolution for that is, it's COVID and I am home. I am eating healthy food. Who wants to take over? Pumpkin?
So when you think
this
about
was yours, huh? So,
yeah, when I think about COVID, right? A lot of people was like COVID-15, COVID-20, COVID-40, COVID-50. All the pounds that we've gained being in the house because we were eating and we didn't have the activities to match what we were eating. So that's when all of a sudden, I know with me, here I am. And then once we opened it up and we started going back to work and I tried on my clothes, I was like, oh my goodness, I can't fit into my clothes. But I thought I was okay because I was wearing the sweats. And in wearing the sweats, I didn't realize that the weight was creeping up.
Oh, wow. I remember doing that. And, I had an excuse. I had the extra pounds and I started wearing sweats as well. And I had a whole array of colors. Mm-hmm. And, I wasn't aware of it because I wasn't wanting to see it either. TV, what's your thoughts?
My thoughts is it's COVID. And during COVID, people became billionaires. People realized a different lifestyle. During COVID, people started businesses. During COVID, people lost weight, right? Mm-hmm. During COVID, we really understood who we were. We got into our mindsets, and certain people use it as an excuse. You're going to always hear me talk about excuses. And certain people ran with it, and they became individuals that they would want the better part of themselves. And so to say it's COVID, you can also say it's COVID, so now I had the time to work on me.
Well, that's why people were taking up baking and all kinds of things that they didn't feel that they had time for prior to being sequestered.
It's COVID, and guess what? We started this podcast
about... There you go. And we did lose weight, right?
And we started putting it into action, right?
Yeah.
So, we could gain weight or we could lose it. Right. Because it's COVID, and why not?
Exactly.
Well, since we started, I have lost 20 pounds.
Right.
So
exactly.
That's a nice positive. It's
yes.
I have a goodly journey to go.
Mm-hmm.
But let's rack up the successes as we do it. Pumpkin.
Right, because the thing about it is that, we could eat, but what do you have in your refrigerator? It all goes back to what do you put in there. So if you put in the healthy foods, then you eat the healthy foods. But if you didn't put the healthy foods in, you put in all of the comfort food, so to say, with all of the high calories, high sodium foods in there, then you tend to gain the weight. So there were people who did lose weight during COVID, and there were people who gained weight during COVID, as TP said.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. James Cleary, in his, he's the author of Atomic Habits. And I love his quote. He says, it is not necessary to change a person in order to change their behavior. Just change their environment. So I guess that's kind of what you're doing is let's have less snack food or unhealthy food around. Let's change the environment so that the first thing that you choose or the first thing up front in your refrigerator is something that's healthy that you might enjoy as much.
And also, let's look at it differently. I think that's a key thing is how we are viewing things. And I think a lot of times as individuals, we tend to view things in a negative way before we look at the positive parts of it.
Yeah.
And so we sort of fall into that before we turn it around. But like how Pumpkin talked about comfort foods, there's ways of making comfort foods in a healthier way.
Right.
And I know Pumpkin's going to tell you about, it tastes like chicken, give me the chicken. And but you could actually use chicken wanting to do chicken, and it's still healthy. It doesn't have to be deep fried. It could be baked, but it's still done in a fried chicken way. Or you're making mac and cheese, and instead of you using 7 cheeses, it still can taste great with 3 or 2. And there's still comfort foods, and it still tastes amazing. It's just being very, very selective in what you're doing. Maybe you're not frying everything and soaking everything in fat back or butter. You're using healthier options.
I know my husband and I have been trying to fit fish in a lot more. And we used to love to do fried fish and panko breading. And it is delicious. But I'll tell you something. He's been making it broiled with lemon and some butter. But I like that as well, as much as I do the fried version. So it's not a torture. It's not a deprivation to some choices rather than another choice. And that's what they are. If we get away from, oh, this is bad and this is good. No, this is more workable and helpful for us, period. I don't know. What's your thoughts on that?
Absolutely. This is a compromise. And, I think a lot of times, especially with females, sometimes we feel as compromises are defeats. And it doesn't have to be. A compromise could just be a healthier way of looking at things.
Yeah. Or if you want, I think I said this in another podcast as well, is that if you are really yearning for that panko-styled fried fish, well, make sure that you incorporate that into your amount of calories for the day. But then again, we're talking still about getting healthy. So the rest of the day's allotment must be all nice and healthy food. So that's just your one mix for the day's allotment. Share and subscribe below and tell us your thoughts about it. We'd love to hear them. Ciao, Bella.